Everybody, welcome back to this week's Most Elite Podcast. Good buddy of mine, Pat, messaged me and was like, "Do another podcast." I told you guys sometimes I forget, and I don't actually forget. I just don't have like a topic or something's going on in real life behind the microphone. It's the name of my new TBS series, by the way, Behind the Microphone. It's going to make millions. It's going to be great. I'm going to be rich next time you guys hear me. Whatever. So let's get right into it. This week's episode was spurned upon because finally Rocksteady, after I guess millennia of silence, have decided to grace us with a new IP or a new game. Sorry about that. That's my cell phone. Let me turn that down. It's so unfucking professional, man. Jesus Christ. They pay me for this? Oh my god. And while ironically that cell phone beep was Pat. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, Rocksteady has decided to grace us with another video game after like 5.5 years, coming up on 6 years. If it doesn't come out this year, it's been 6 years. It's the Suicide Squad. They released a poster today to date this episode. They'll have more information in the coming up DC Fandom event, which is an online only event because of the state of the world. And it's going to have tons of DC news, new comics, I assume, new game news, I assume, obviously, new toys. I'm all about those collectibles, so please have something sick for me to buy. Yeah, Suicide Squad. For the uninitiated, like a couple of people I know, the Suicide Squad are a motley or ragtag group of unsavory individuals who are, in most cases, irredeemable. They are selected for basically suicide missions. Ones where, the government could send in a wet work team or some highly trained individuals, but the likelihood of them dying is very high. So that's basically what the Suicide Squad does. Instead of just like regular wet work missions, assassinating a terrorist leader, installing a democracy in some poor country somewhere. No, these guys, they assassinate like universal threats or threats directly related to Earth. In terms of it's more of a global thing than a region thing. Now, sometimes they are just used as hitmen. Deadshot's one of the best. But yeah, they're called in or forced into action. They're not really called in. Who would want to be on a Suicide Squad? Since they have no choice, since most of them, as I said, are unsavory, irredeemable criminals, they are forced into action, drugged, kidnapped, whatever it may be. And they're told, hey, look, do this, you get a clean slate. Now, most of the time, they do get these clean slates, but then they blow it because they're idiots. Harley Quinn's an idiot. Deadshot, he might have some noble goals occasionally, but he is a murderous scumbag. Don't think just because Will Smith made him seem likable that he's not a piece of shit. Everyone on the Suicide Squad, Captain Kangaroo, whatever the fuck, Boomerang, Dickhead, they're all assholes. They're scumbags. They're the underbelly of they're like the worst of the worst. And not so much like they're going to blow the planet up and all that. But as I said, most villains in comics, in the black and white morality scale, they have redeeming qualities that heroes can bounce off of, that heroes can empathize with. The Suicide Squad are designed in a way that they don't have those qualities. And even if they do, they're not really shown in the Suicide Squad comics. More so, they're shown in the singular comics of each character in the squad, if they're lucky enough or popular enough to have their own comic. And if they are not, then the Suicide Squad does act as sort of a insight into the people on the team, which makes it so traumatizing when most of them die for a lot of the time. A lot of them die. A lot. It's always a different team because these are suicide missions they are going on. And shit get ugly. It gets ugly when you're facing global threats that also are super powered, or maybe it's a high tech hit squad, and it's a whole bunch of shit that they fight. And I would never call them heroes. They're forced into the Suicide Squad job for heroic deeds, but they are not heroic intrinsically. They can be heroic, but they are not. That's the Suicide Squad. Most people only know them from the movie, and that's fine. A lot of I will say this. I've talked about this extensively on the channel. As much as I don't like most of the comic book movies, like my hatred for the Marvel Universe is wide known at this point. As much as I don't like the movies, I am glad they exist because they give us an opportunity to really see and really appreciate that these characters have been bringing joy to people for upwards to 75 years. You know, DC 80 years, something like that. Marvel 67, 70. So it's really really cool, and I am glad that it's bringing attention to these things that I love so much, so other people can love them too. And even if they only love the movie versions, they still love the character. So it's not. I mean, I'm not like a purist. I mean, if you love Iron Man, you love Iron Man. If you only love RDJ Iron Man, then you only love that Iron Man. But you still love Iron Man. We both can still sit down at a table and shake hands like the meme with Dutch and Carl Weathers' character. I forget his name. What was his name in Predator? Whatever. We can still do that meme with the hands, the muscle arms. Anyways, that's Suicide Squad. That's what they are. A couple of years back, rumors were circulating that Rocksteady was working on a Superman game, and these rumors were fueled in part by, I think, like a leaked document and a new hire that they had. He posted on Twitter a picture of the Justice League emblems in a circle or rings or something like that. It was a very cool picture of all their symbols in a circle. And the rumors were fueled that, oh my God, are they making a Justice League game? Or are they making a Superman game? You know, the Justice League look, when you're a company and you're quiet for 5+ years, the rumor mill is going to be turning. There's nothing you can do about that. And people are using whatever is in the room to make logical strands, sometimes illogical strands. And the only thing that was in the room from Rocksteady was a host of Batman games. They made, 5 or 4 Batman games? The Arkham 1, Arkham 2, Arkham 3. They didn't do Origins. Montreal did that. Then they did Arkham VR. So four Batman games. So that's all we know. That was all that was in the room with us. It was, oh my God, these are the guys that did Batman. They gotta be doing Superman next. They crushed Batman. They've been crushing Batman since like 09, 08. When did that first Arkham game come out? They've been crushing Batman. So these are the people I would trust. I would trust these guys with any superhero IP after the success of Batman, you know? And then we had Spider-Man come out and it was like, man, so even if, I mean, Batman's kind of easy to do, right? You just beat some goons up. You got tech. You got the Batmobile in the last one. You swing through the city. You're a man, so it's more grounded. You're fighting supervillains, but you're Batman. So it's like, I'm Batman. Spider-Man came out. Again, Spider-Man has superpowers. So his traversal is a little different. No Batmobile. He can swing, run on buildings, jump fantastic heights. He has super strength. You stop cars with your hands in Spider-Man. You lift them up. Everything. You know, you run into burning buildings. You have superpowers as Spider-Man. That game is fantastic. So it showed that even if you made an open world game with a super powered character, you could still crush the game. That Spider-Man's a grand slam. You know, so with Batman and Spider-Man being sort of a tipping point, everyone's thinking, okay, I know the excuse was before. I get that you're kind of scared to do a Superman game, right? When was the last one? 2006. Superman Returns was movie tie-in games. Those games are never good. So I didn't expect it to be good. It was terrible. It was an excellent flight simulator, and I still have a copy of it, still on my desk. For when I want to fly as Superman, I'll turn it on every few months or so. I'll turn my 360 on, I'll put the game in, and I just float above Metropolis. And I'm like, man, I'm Superman. I want that feeling again, and I want it updated. I want it new. I want 1 billion pixels. I want my eyes to explode from the hope symbol, the House of L on his chest. I want it to shine like diamonds. You know what I mean? Superman's my favorite hero. He has always been. I love Superman. I love what he stands for. I love that he exists as a character that's supposed to show us how great we can be. We all can be Supermen. That's why I love him. So it bums me out that no developer anywhere has had the stones to touch him since 06. No one's like, I got an excellent Superman idea. Let's go and run with it. Now, a friend of mine said the conspiracy theory side was, well, maybe WB just told everyone collectively, don't touch Superman as a video game. Maybe they passed the message down in the wire somewhere that Superman, you can't touch him. It just can't happen because it's an impossible sell. Look at his track record. Superman 64 is one of the most infamous examples of a terrible Superman game. Now that was in 64, guys. Can we let the past die? You heard what Kylo said. Kill it if you have to. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Why do we still bring up Superman 64 when we talk about Superman games? You know, we don't bring up Batman Forever for Sega Genesis. I thought it was trash. It was a terrible game. But I don't bring it up every time a Batman game is brung up. Like Rise of Shinzu for PlayStation had some fun ideas. It was co-op. Not a good game though. You know, I think even during the time it got like a 6.5 or something in Game Informer, which, I mean, if you value their opinions, I don't know. I don't really care about game journalist opinions because it's kind of hard to know if they've been written a check. You know what I mean? And there's been tons of exposés. It's been tons of like, oh yeah, these people are in pocket sort of shown in gaming journalism or just in journalism. You know, so it's kind of hard to know if maybe the sponsor said paint me in a nice picture. You know what I mean? So, but even at the time, I was like, man, these games aren't so good. They're not so good. Batman Begins for PS2 had fun driving segments, but the game itself, I don't know. But you know, no one brings up those games when we talk about the success of the Arkham series because these series stand on their own. They are not those other series. So why is it that whenever I mention or other people mention, oh, well, maybe Superman needs a new game, it's, have you played 64? Like, dude, my fucking grandkids have played 64. It's that old. What are you talking about? You know, who gives a shit about 64? We're talking about now. It's the PS5 generation. It's the Series X generation coming up in November. We're talking about now. We're not talking about the 64. We're well past that, you know? So it's a real bummer, you know, and that's where the conspiracy theory comes in, that WB, after so many failures with the Superman license, decided, hey, let's not do a Superman game. Let's do what the Marvel Universe did. Let's not have a Hulk movie because the 2008 Hulk movie didn't do so well, or the other movie before that in 2003 didn't do so well, even though they both sold a lot. Let's not have a Hulk movie. Let's put him as a side character in the Avengers movies and in the Black Widows and let's have him in the universe. Let's leave the door open for him to be like he's a main character of Thor. And let's put him somewhere. Let's not give him his own platform. Rather, let's use him as a building block to bring other heroes up, which is the perfect thing for Superman to do. Keep in mind, I mean, it is hard to, you know, because how would you make the game? And I know that's a common criticism. How could you do Superman? He's so strong. Look at Hulk in Ultimate Destruction in 2002, 3 for PS2. Amazing game. That's one of the better games. They tried to recreate it on the 360 to a lesser effect with another Hulk game. It can be done. You could even, I know it's not the whole world because making the whole world in the game would be tough, but you could create zones on the planet. You could do Africa, Asia, America, and in these zones would be small sandboxes to explore. Sandboxes wouldn't be so big. Like think of Metal Gear Solid 5. You know, you're in Africa on some maps and it was a small sandbox, and then you were Kazakhstan, small sandbox. You know what I mean? You could do that, and it would work perfectly. It would work perfectly. I know people don't think it would, but it absolutely would. And you could have the Watchtower in space as a hub to select where you go. So you can have some space gameplay if you want to float outside the Watchtower and look down on Earth. You know, maybe have a cool little feature. You know how most open world games have, what do they call? Witcher vision, I'll call it, where you press a right click, or Hitman vision, and then things are highlighted. You could do that in space as Superman, and instead of seeing things highlighted, since he has super hearing, you just, by turning your camera, you can pump in sounds of like cities or calls for help or distress, and as Superman you can hear that from space, and then you can sort of select where you're going, and then the loading screen would be, you know, you fly down. But maybe it's not a loading screen with PS5 generation or high-end computers. Maybe it's no loading screen. Maybe you fly down to Earth, to the zone, and start the mission, whatever that mission may be. You know, it's a ton of things that could be done for Superman, and it really upsets me that it has not been done. I just don't understand the feel. Do you not want a flop of a game? They made a Captain America movie tie-in game for 360. They made an Iron Man tie-in game for 360. Both of these games are, I mean, they're playable, but they're both just Batman. The Captain America game was just Arkham Knight, but you're Steve Rogers. Well, I mean, there's so many clones and so many things that are getting shots at games, but you won't do the best superhero, in my opinion. You know, you won't do the granddaddy of superheroes, 1938 lifting the car. You won't do him. You won't give him a shot, another shot. 2006 was his last chance. 2006. It feels like a disservice to Superman that he can't be displayed in the same light as these other heroes. All these heroes are getting games. And even games that aren't superheroes that we know are super heroic. Look at Control. One of my favorite games is 2019. You're a goddamn superhero in Control. You can fucking fly. You have super speed dash. You have telekinesis. You can reach into the mind of your enemies and control them. Those sound like superpowers to me. You have a gun that shoots infinitely. You're a superhero in Control, and that game's amazing. But Superman can't get a shot? New IPs getting shots every day, which I'm so happy about. Every day we're seeing the limits of what these developers are doing. Ghost of Tsushima was a technical marvel. As I said, there's like no loading screens. Everything is instant. The scenery is beautiful. It's beautiful. But we can't see the world through that lens as Superman. We can't look at the globe from space and see it perfectly rendered through the eyes of the last surviving son. We can't do that. That's unacceptable to me. It should be unacceptable to everyone else. And a lot of people shit on my boy Blue. A lot of people think he's this overpowered asshole. Don't get me wrong. He's very OP when he has to be. It depends on the writer. It depends on the scenario he is in. You know? That's just preference for the writer. If they want to display Boy Blue is broke, they do. They don't, they don't. But Superman has so much to offer in terms of a video game that it's disgraceful that he has not got one. It's disgraceful that he has not got a game. And then, as I said at the start of this episode, what brought this episode about was, we're getting a Suicide Squad game. Who the fuck even knows about the Suicide Squad? I actually had to explain them at the beginning of this video. And the reason I had to explain them is because I know that people don't know about them. Not like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which also, by the way, got 2 games, even though they were the fucking narrative-driven games from the guys who did The Walking Dead and all that. Those games, they got 2 of them. What the hell? The Guardians of the Galaxy? Man. Oh, man, oh, man. Look, guys, I'm a comic book fan. I love those things. They're a perfect escape, and they tell really great stories. And it is a damn shame that one of the heroes in the comic book universe, Superman, who was told some of the best stories ever written. Superman 4 Tomorrow, one of the best stories ever written. Superman 4 Seasons, one of the best stories ever written. Like, this guy who has done so much for comic history hasn't had a true shot to shine as a video game character. He hasn't had a shot. Everything's getting shots. I know people watch Netflix. Extraction. That's a comic book from '96. That comic book got a shot. It's a big Netflix movie. The Old Guard, also a comic book from like '97. They're fucking superheroes. They're immortal. They getting shots. Everybody's getting shots. Superman's not getting a shot. WB doesn't know what to do with him. They haven't known what to do with him since Justice League, where he was in it for like 15 minutes. They really doing my guy on every front. And I don't understand. If he can't shine as this movie star, which he should be able to, Henry Cavill is my second favorite Superman. My first, obviously, being Christopher Reeves, because he's the definitive Superman. Henry Cavill is my second favorite. But he's done an amazing job as Superman. And it's messed up that in video games, he has no representation. He's nowhere. And I'm saying this now because I know he will be in the Suicide Squad game. I know he's going to be in the game. Hell, they might even spit in our face and make us play as him in the tutorial. I feel like the tutorial of the game is going to be you play as the Justice League. I think the plot of the game, from the leaks months ago, the plot of the game is the Suicide Squad is hunting the Justice League. Now, here's what obviously we know the Suicide Squad cannot beat the Justice League. There's just no way they can do it. Even if they had all their best members, past members, dead members, the Justice League is going to sweep them. That's just what it is. I mean, the Justice League is Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Superman, The Flash, Cyborg if you want. They can't beat those guys. They're especially Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. They're holy trinity of superheroes. You just can't touch them. So, it's, to me, I think that maybe it's a fake Justice League, or maybe it's a PR thing. It's something. It's not, with Suicide Squad, things are never as they appear. And that's sort of their selling point of their comic. Things are never how they appear. Their mission is never what it is. It's always some shady underbelly shit that they get caught up in and have to rectify on the spot. They have to improvise. So it'll be interesting to see the plot of the game. The poster was released. You can look it up on Rocksteady's Twitter. It's Superman with his back turned, his face obscured by darkness, and a crosshair on his head with the Suicide Squad symbol in the middle. So that the Suicide Squad is taking aim at Superman. Hell of a poster. Hell of a poster. Whoever made the poster, kudos. I'm gonna buy the game. I'm gonna buy the game because not only do I like Rocksteady as a developer, I think they're fantastic, but I want to see Superman in updated graphics. Superman is selling it for me. Even if he's in the game for as long as he was in Justice League the movie, I'll still buy the game. And I really hope they make a Superman game next. I really do. I know this was kind of a rant, but I just can't believe my big boy Blue hasn't gotten a fair shake. He really hasn't. You know, everybody's getting fair shakes. Not Superman. Look at 2014. Infamous came out with the PS4. You're basically fucking Superman. You know, you have a super speed power, you have a smoke power, you have a TV power where you can fly. I mean, you can turn into you turn into the Thing and roll around the city. Roll around the city like Limp Bizkit. What the hell? You jump from building to building, you can go real high in that game. You know, you interact with not only superpowered people, but regular DUP agents. You fight normal people and superpowered versions of them. That's all a Superman game needs. And I don't understand why he just hasn't gotten one. It's fucking baffling to me. Anyway, that's our time this week, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the usual stuff, share, you know, tell your friends. You know, it's just unacceptable to me. Anyway, we'll catch you next week, guys. Thank you for stopping in.